Good day, everyone. I specially welcome you to another interestingly rewarding episode of English language class with tutor Esther Owolo. You're welcome to this online English class. I'm thrilled to have you here and excited for the journey we are about to engage on together. This course is designed to help you strengthen your English skills, boost your confidence, and make learning both effective and enjoyable. Remember, this is a safe space to ask questions, make mistakes, and grow. Stay engaged, participate actively, and let's work together to achieve your language goals. Let's get started and make this a great learning experience for all of us. This class is proudly sponsored by eGota Virtual Learning Platform. You're welcome. Today, we are diving into the world of compound sentences. Have you ever wondered how to join two ideas in a sentence without confusing your reader? That's where punctuation becomes a powerful tool. And by the end of today's lesson, you will be able to write compound sentences with better confidence and clarity. And that is why our topic for today is how to punctuate compound sentences. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to identify major errors in punctuating compound sentences, and two, you will be able to punctuate compound sentences correctly using commas, semicolons, colons, and coordinate conjunctions. You're welcome. In my previous video, I was able to clearly discuss the definition and properties of a compound sentence and how to form a correct compound sentence. And again today, I will quickly go through the meaning of a compound sentence. But if you want to understand compound sentence as a whole topic, I would encourage you to go back to my video on simple and compound sentences before you come back here to watch this one. Okay, a compound sentence consists of two or more independent clauses which are joined by a coordinating conjunction. A compound sentence consists of two or more independent clauses which are joined together by a coordinating conjunction. Each clause in a compound sentence can stand alone as a complete sentence, but when we connect them, we create a stronger and more interesting sentence, which is a compound sentence. For example, if you say, I enjoy reading novels, it's an independent clause. When you also say, I also like writing essays, I enjoy reading novels, independent clause. I also like writing essays is another independent clause. Now to combine both sentences together, we would have I enjoy reading novels and I also like writing essays, using a comma to separate the two independent clauses. So when you use a comma to separate two independent clauses, you will get what we call a compound sentence. Also, it is equally important to remember that the most popular way to join two independent clauses to form a compound sentence is by using a coordinating conjunction. Do you remember the acronym fanboys? Let's break it down. Fanboys are examples of is an acronym for examples of coordinating conjunctions, with the F meaning for, A for and, N for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. So when using the acronym fanboys, always place a comma before the conjunction. Always place a comma before the conjunction. For example, she wanted to go to the beach, but it started raining. These are two independent clauses. She wanted to go to the beach, it started raining. So after she wanted to go to the beach, you have to put a comma before the coordinating conjunction but. Then you write the second independent clause, it started raining. Thereafter, you have a compound sentence. Another example, I could watch a movie or I could read a book. I could watch a movie is an independent clause. I could read a book is also an independent clause. To join them, you need a comma and a coordinating conjunction. I could watch a movie will be followed immediately by a comma, then the coordinating conjunction, or I could read a book. Okay, so those are the two examples that I am given here. Then another example is I love pizza. I love pizza. I eat it every Friday. I love pizza. I eat it every Friday. To join those two independent clauses, you are going to be using coordinating conjunction and. I love pizza and I eat it every Friday. The train was safe. We missed our meeting. The train was safe. We missed our meeting. So what are you going to say? To join the two independent clauses together, you're going to say the train was late, comma, but the train was late, then you put a comma, then you say, so we missed our meeting. The train was late, so we missed our meeting. So those are good examples of how to use the coordinating conjunctions to join two independent clauses and get a compound sentence. So what I am saying in essence is that in order to correctly compose a compound sentence by joining two independent clauses with a coordinating conjunction, you have to place a comma before the coordinating conjunction. Place a comma before the coordinating conjunction. For example, again, she wanted to go to the party. That's an example. She had a lot of work to do. So there is a negation there. She wanted to go to the party. Place a comma before the but she had a lot of work to do. Okay, so that is how to form a compound sentence using a coordinating conjunction. The use of a semicolon is another interesting way to form a compound sentence by joining two independent clauses. Here, a semicolon is like a soft period. A soft period, that is a soft full stop. You use it when the clauses are closely related and you don't want to use a conjunction. So in that case, you can use a semicolon. So a semicolon is also used to join two independent clauses without using a conjunction at all. For example, the sun sets, semicolon, the stars appeared. The sun sets is an independent clause. The stars appeared is another independent clause. Remember that the first clause here is closely related to the second clause. In that case, you don't need a coordinating conjunction. Instead, you make use of a semicolon. The sun set, semicolon, the stars appeared. Another example, I have a meeting tomorrow. I need to prepare. I have a meeting tomorrow will be followed by a semicolon, then immediately followed by the independent clause, I need to prepare. Okay, so the best way to join two independent clauses together in order to form a compound conjunction is without using a coordinating conjunction is by using a semicolon. So a semicolon can equally help you. So another example here, she loves to read. Then followed by a semicolon, her favorite genre is science fiction. She loves to read, semicolon, her favorite genre is science fiction. Her favorite genre is science fiction is closely related to she loves to read. In fact, it's a further explanation of the first clause, she loves to read. So instead of using a coordinating conjunction, I have used a semicolon here and I have been able to correctly form a compound sentence. Let us quickly discuss how to use a colon to form a compound sentence. There is a slight difference between using a colon and a semicolon to form a compound sentence. When you are using a colon to form a compound sentence, it has to be that the second clause explains, elaborates on, or summarizes the first clause. That is, when you give the first clause, you have to give the second clause as a further explanation or a further illumination of the first clause. For example, he made a surprising announcement. And what was the announcement? He was moving abroad. He made a surprising announcement. Colon, he was moving abroad. So that's a good example of how to use a colon to form a compound sentence. Remember that when you want to use a colon is like an explainer. A colon gives explanation about a particular item that has been initially mentioned. And that is the same way you use it to form a compound sentence. When you give the first independent clause, the second independent clause will explain the first independent clause. And that is how to make use of a colon to form a compound sentence. Also, you should use a semicolon before a conjunctive adverb. You can use a semicolon before a conjunctive adverb. Remember, a conjunctive adverb is usually used to connect two sentences that are independent clauses together. We use a conjunctive adverb to link our sentences and introduce our paragraphs. So you can use a semicolon before a conjunctive adverb and a comma after it. For example, he didn't study for the exam, semicolon, therefore, comma, he failed. He didn't study for the exam, semicolon, therefore, he failed. Okay, so whenever you use a semicolon, whenever you use a conjunctive adverb, it should be followed immediately by a comma. So far in this lesson, we have been able to discuss how to make use of commas, colons, and semicolons to form a compound sentence alongside with the use of coordinating conjunctions. However, we have also been able to address certain errors that people usually make when forming compound sentences, especially with punctuation marks and the placement of the coordinating conjunction. So we want to look at a summary of all these errors one after the other. The first major error is the use of comma splices. When we say comma splices, we mean using just a comma without a conjunction or omitting the comma before a coordinating conjunction. It will be incorrect to say, I was tired, so I went to bed, without using a comma in between. I was tired is an independent clause. I went to bed is an independent clause. So before you'll be able to join them correctly, you have to make use of a comma before you introduce your coordinating conjunction. So it would be correct to say, I was tired, comma, so I went to bed. Another example is, she was hungry. You put a comma before you write, so she ate a sandwich. So it will be wrong to say she was hungry, comma, she ate a sandwich. No. She was hungry, comma, so she ate a sandwich. So you do not deliberately omit the comma or omit the coordinating conjunction where necessary. That is one of the mistakes that people usually make when forming compound sentences. Sometimes also, people use only a comma between independent clauses. Where they are supposed to use a semicolon, a comma is always used. It is incorrect to say, it rained, comma, we stay inside. Instead, you say, it rained, semicolon, we stayed inside. Remember that it rained and we stayed inside are closely related. In that case, you use a semicolon instead of a comma. Also, You should not use a semicolon with a coordinating conjunction. For example, she was late, but she still finished her work. Is wrong. It is wrong to say she was late, semicolon, then you use but she still finished her work. Remember that the semicolon and the but are performing the same function in that sentence. She was late, comma, but she still finished her work is the correct example you should give there. All right, it's practice time. We want to apply what we have learned by practicing some WAEC styled question. Now it's your turn to provide some sentences or look up the sentences that I am going to give you and provide answers to the questions that come from them. And you will decide the best way to punctuate these sentences. Question 1. Choose the correctly punctuated sentence below. Choose the correctly punctuated sentence below. A. She was tired, but she kept working. B. She was tired, comma, but she kept working. C. She was tired, semicolon, but she kept working. D. She was tired, but, comma, she kept working. So you have to choose the correctly punctuated sentence in that question. The correct answer to that question is in option B. She was tired, comma, but she kept working. She was tired, comma, but she kept working. Remember we said that whenever you want to introduce a coordinating conjunction, you should put a comma before you write your second independent clause. So, she was tired, comma, then the coordinating conjunction but before the second independent clause, she kept working. Question 2. Identify the correctly punctuated sentence. A. He forgot his homework, so he got a penalty. B. He forgot his homework, comma, so, comma, he got a penalty. C. He forgot his homework, comma, so he got a penalty. D. He forgot his homework, semicolon, so he got a penalty. You are to choose the correctly punctuated question in that sentence. The correct answer to that question is in option C. He forgot his homework, comma, so he got a penalty. He forgot his homework, comma, so he got a penalty. The same rule applies here. So is a coordinating conjunction. It has to be preceded by a comma. So he forgot his homework, comma, so he got a penalty. Which of these sentences is not punctuated correctly? Which of these sentences is not punctuated correctly? A. I enjoy swimming, semicolon, it helps me relax. I enjoy swimming, comma, and it helps me relax. C. I enjoy swimming, colon, it helps me relax. D. I enjoy swimming, it helps me relax. You are to pick one of the sentences that is not correctly punctuated. The correct answer to that question is in option D. Remember, you are asked to pick a sentence that is not correctly punctuated. I enjoy swimming there is an independent clause. It helps me relax is also an independent clause. In order to join them, you have to put a semicolon. I enjoy swimming, semicolon, it helps me relax. Okay, so I enjoy swimming is supposed to be followed by a semicolon before you write it helps me relax. So that is why the correct answer to that question is in option D. Okay, we are moving on to question 4. Choose the sentence with proper punctuation using a colon. Choose the sentence with proper punctuation using a colon. A. She has one dream, to become a doctor. B. She has one dream, colon, to become a doctor. C. She has one dream, semicolon, to become a doctor. D. She has one dream, colon, and to become a doctor. You are to pick the sentence with proper punctuation using a colon. The correct answer to that question is in option B. She has one dream, colon, to become a doctor. Remember, we explained that when you want to use a colon must be able to clearly explain the independent clause that comes after the first clause. Okay, remember I mentioned that a colon is like an explainer. It explains the clause that comes after it. So whenever you introduce an independent clause, you should put a colon before you write the explanatory clause that follows it. So she has a dream, colon, to become a doctor. The last but not the least question here is question 5. Identify the sentence with incorrect punctuation. Identify the sentence with incorrect punctuation. A. She enjoys reading, she enjoys reading, semicolon. However, comma, she rarely has time for it. B. She enjoys reading, comma, but she rarely has time for it. C. She enjoys reading, semicolon, but she rarely has time for it. D. She enjoys reading. However, she rarely has time for it. So you are to pick or identify the sentence with incorrect punctuation in those sentences. The answer to that question is in option D. She enjoys reading, semicolon. However, she hardly has time for it. She enjoys reading, semicolon. However, she hardly has time for it. Remember, we said that we are to pick a sentence with incorrect punctuation. She enjoys reading, colon, is supposed to be, however, is supposed to be followed by a comma before she really has time for it. Remember that we said that whenever you're using a transitional word, you must use a comma after the transitional word before you write the remaining parts of the sentence. So she enjoys reading, colon, however, comma, she rarely has time for it should be the correct way to punctuate that sentence. All right, so it's been a great work today. Let's recap the key points. 1. Use commas with fanboys to join independent clauses in order to form a compound sentence. 2. Use semicolons to connect closely related independent clauses. And 3. Use semicolons and transitional words to show relationship between ideas. My final question to you: can you explain the difference between the use of a comma and a semicolon in forming compound sentences? Can you explain the difference between using a comma and a semicolon in forming compound sentences? That is a question for you. You should make use of some practice sentences in order to see whether you can differentiate between the use of those two punctuation marks. Well done, everyone. Remember, punctuation is the glue that holds your ideas together. Practice these rules in your writing subsequently, and you'll see how much clearer your sentences become. Until I come your way next time, do have a wonderful time. Practice more WAEC questions and get yourself acquainted with all the rules that we have learned today by practicing and practicing and practicing again. Until I see you next time, do have a nice time. Bye. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much. Bye.